So good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are streaming both on Facebook Live and on Instagram. And you can see I have this empty chair next to me. And never fear, Midori is here. She is just recovering from Bay Area traffic. And for those of you who know, about traffic in the Bay Area, I think it's actually worse than LA now. So she'll be joining us in just a few minutes. And as you hop on the call, I'd love it if you share with us where you're tuning in from, which city or state, well, city preferably. And then both Midori and I have these amazing global audiences. So we'd love to know where in the world it is that you are tuning in from. So please do that, and you can pop that in the comments below. And a lot of people in my community have an expression that sharing is caring. So I invite you to feel free to invite your friends to join us. We're going to be hanging out for about an hour. And this is really a rare treat. Both Midori and I travel pretty extensively, and while I keep promising my audience that I'm going to do Facebook Lives more and more, I haven't been doing them as frequently as I was a couple of years ago. So I hope that you really enjoy our foray into how to use rope bondage with simple techniques to create harder connections. And I think a lot of people generally find that even the thought of bondage can be hot or exciting. And I'm curious, when you hear the word rope bondage, what that evokes for you. You haven't quite seen it yet. That is yours. Yes, Midori's coming ready to join us, but Midori just put some rope on the table as we were getting ready, and even that got me very, very excited.
Okay, am I on the screen here?
Midori has joined us now.
All right, let me also do the live thing here.
I'm gonna have to snuggle up a little.
Video, live.
Daisy.
Okay. Accessing camera. Oh, hey, this looks great. All right. And go live. We've gone live. Okay.
Thank you for joining us,
Hi.
Shelley. And we're going to need to just move ourselves a bit this way, I think.
Which way?
Towards me. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll move this way.
There we go.
And live. And I am.
We're making sure you can see all of our sexy selves.
Going live. And let's see. Oh, it would help if I turn that.
So I love it that Shelley has already shared that she's joining us from Arkansas. Please do share. I'm seeing lots of wonderful faces that I know from my community already.
I'm like leaving in here. All right.
That's great. We get to snuggle up.
Hi. Hey. Hey. So hi, I'm Midori, right? And thank you so much for your patience. Traffic in the Bay Area is right now hell. You would not think, this is my coconut, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a little coconut water and a little ibuprofen and a little not sitting in a car. That's nice. Let's see. Oh, hey, there's a bunch of folks coming up. Hi, all. We have 4 cameras going.
I know. I was thinking about that, Midori. Yeah. I'm into objectification, negotiated, of course, and I'm into exhibitionism, and this really helps. 4 cameras directed at us.
So we have camera 1. We have your brand new effort at being on Instagram Live. We have camera 2. Hi. This is your Facebook, right?
That's right.
Okay. Camera 3. Hi. This is my Instagram live feed. Woohoo. And camera 4. Hi there. That's my Facebook. All right, so we promised you all practical, easy tips on rope bondage. Now, you were talking about, I popped right in as you were talking about
rope.
Yeah. So, all right.
Can we just tell, for those in my audience who don't know you, I know there are many that already love and know you and want to know you more. Can you share a little bit about who you are and why we're sitting on this call today?
Sure. Let's see. I'm Midori. I travel, I teach. That's what I do. I travel all over. My focus, however, is on my weekend intensives like Rope Dojo and Forte Femme. And so I wrote the first English language book on Japanese bondage. Here we go. Here's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the one. Okay. So I wrote that. You know, funny thing is when I first wrote that, they didn't think the book would be a hit because rope bondage was not a big deal 20 years ago.
Can I share a story, a personal story about this that's actually very relevant to this week? I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Midori. So, how many years ago now? Quite a few years, at least 15 years ago, I was in London at a place called Coffee, Cake and Kink, right? And Coffee, Cake and Kink, for those of you that are in the Bay, is the concept for Wicked Grounds, I believe, Wicked Grounds is a kinky coffee shop in San Francisco. And the concept came from Coffee, Cake and Kink.
Yeah.
And I was brand new to the scene in those days.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a birthday present, or no, it was a Valentine's present for the person that had introduced me to kink. And I was in the bookstore and I was looking at your book.
Shit.
And as I was looking, I overheard a conversation between two doms that were talking about interviewing submissives. And I think I had to look for a book for about 2 hours because I was so intrigued. I was so intrigued by this. So I had to, and there weren't that many books, Midori. So I had to really look like I was looking. But I did end up buying this actually for my partner. And after one of the gentlemen left, I introduced myself to the dom, and it became my first poly love. So your book has, I don't think I've told you that.
That's awesome.
Whole story behind it. And this is amazing. This is really the first. I know most people don't realize the caliber that Midori really got rope bondage started in the
English-speaking world,
right?
Or the non-Japanese world. Yeah, and it's odd for me still thinking back because time has just kind of flown by for me. Seriously, 20-some years ago, Japanese rope bondage was just a thing practiced by a tiny group of people. You would not think that now because it seems so ubiquitous. But anyhow, hey, Jackie. Hi. Good to see you. I still love it when you call me ma'am. That's nice. Let's see. So how about for my folks who don't know about your work?
Thank you.
Bam.
So my name is Caroline Carrington. I am the founder of Sarasa Tantra, and I teach Neo-Tantra, which is mostly what's practiced in the West. Often the word Tantra is just thrown around, but Neo-Tantra is this Western style of embodied dynamic meditation where we focus on getting out of our heads and into our bodies, playing with energy, and having truly transcendental experiences that often focus around sex. It's not only about that, but that's certainly where I started. That's what got me into it. And I'm really passionate about empowering people through pleasure. And while I love to play with energy, I want to just make the link because I've been getting some flack this week on Facebook for people saying, kink is not healing and kink is not, how is that sacred?
Have they actually not read the original writings around tantric practice?
They haven't read most of the original things. Anyway, I mean, without beating people up, I just want to say for me, the link, I'm most interested in any practice that I engage, kind of like us having full cameras running now. Like, what is the maximum juice that I can squeeze out of each practice? So, for example, the lens that I look at kink through, for me, is often through the lens of devotion. Whereas, imagining you playing with two people, whichever roles one is in, you're actually devoted to serving the other throughout the whole experience.
Have you been really getting shit about kink?
I have really just this morning.
Oh.
They're like, this is a healing group. This is porn. And I'm like, actually, I'm very pro porn, but no. Anyway, so
they're talking out of their ass without actually taking a moment to, by the way, for those of you who are on her side of the media, I swear like a sailor.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you,
I swear like a
Midori.
sailor. But it's like that's awfully judgy for a whole bunch of people who claim not to be judgy.
I know. Anyway, we're not going to hate on them because I have a value around not othering people. And, for me, it is actually all about this woo-woo stuff of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And spanking, for example, is a great way to put energy into the body. Rope, let's go back to the rope.
Mm-hmm.
Rope is an incredible conductor of connection and transferring energy.
Okay, so folks, what you're witnessing right now is about to be woo versus pragmatism conversation. And I'm going to give you like an overarching thing. We're essentially saying the same thing, using very different languages and what's seemingly a different framework and seemingly a different lens, but we're actually talking about the same thing with different kind of language. For those on my side of the media, y'all know I'm from Japan. Hi, I'm from Japan. One would think that being born and raised in Japan and, I did shit like go to Buddhist summer camp and all that. You can take a girl out of...
I didn't even know that about you.
I've told you about this before.
I don't remember Buddhist summer camp.
I've told you about this.
I know about your temple visits. But anyway, This is great.
No, I'm a secular Zen, right? Which is kind of like being a secular Jew.
Right.
Right? I grew up in the stuff. I grew up in that. Now, I don't speak in woo, but I think eventually you kind of realize that essentially I'm saying the same thing, right? So, yeah, the fundamentals about kink is when people think it's like violence and all that. No, they're actually not paying attention to it. They're looking at their own preconceived idea. What kink is, and same with rope bondage, is it's childhood joy with adult sexual privilege and cool toys. It's cops and robbers with fucking, or maybe cops and robbers with like just a good old time. Mm-hmm. It's having fun. And humans being complex as we are, sometimes we like things that are a little bit scary. After all, why do people go on roller coasters? Why do people go to scary movies or even vaguely thrilling movies? In the pursuit of play and systemic arousal and that which takes one to be present and not having to be all responsible and adulting.
So wonderful.
Right.
Who else wants a break from adulting? Send some likes or loves on the screen if you
tap them hearts if you're like, like enough with adulting. Hi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mini vacation. You can go on the journey.
Yeah,
together.
And I get the thing about energy and healing, but I also don't want to make it that big of a deal, because sometimes if we're like, oh, whatever it is like, whether it is that's playing, whether you're playing with rope bondage or whether you're having a cup of tea, it has the potential to either be a nice cup of tea, a nice bit of playing, or sometimes it can be transcendent. But if we expect it to be transcendent, it might just slip out of grasp. So what if we just approach it as like, hey, let's have a good time?
So I guess I'm saying pleasure and having a good time and making time to get an break from adulting. That is healing in and of itself. Yeah. And then we've got to be open to whatever shows up that day. And sometimes it's just a release of endorphins.
I like setting the bar low.
Okay. Well,
here's practical tip. Number 1, set your expectation down.
Right.
Like if you set your expectation like down here, hi.
Hi, I love it. You're still making it on all four screens. That's awesome.
Hi. So if we set the expectation really down, everything's a win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we just set the expectation as like, let's just not work right now and like fool around and have a good time. Low expectations.
Yeah, so what is William Winters, a friend of ours, he always says low expectations, high possibilities.
High possibility, low expectations. Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So, hey, Heather. Yeah, I know. It's like I should do live more often, but I'm so damn busy doing things. But yeah, so practical tip. Number 1, keep expectations low. Okay. Keep expectations really, really super low. So, you're shaking the cat.
I'm playing with things.
She's like,
I'm tying myself up because I'm getting all tied up by.
Have that. Yeah, just keep.
If I keep hanging out with the rope too much,
just be that.
I'll get high on the rope.
Don't shake the table. Okay, so practical tip: keep the expectation low, because it really is just playing. You know, it really is. Whether it is you're going out on a bike ride on a Saturday afternoon, which I hope some of you will, or if you're going to stay in and play grown-up cops and robbers, all of which is good. So practical tip. I promised you guys practical tips. Now, another practical tip, this one takes a little more work, right, is have a sense of what kind of feelings you want to go to. Okay, what kind of feels do we want to have? And I'm not talking about anything like too complicated. It's like, oh, I want to have a burst of energy and I want to laugh my head off. Okay, you can totally laugh with kink. You can, let's see. Oh, I just want to like be still for a moment. Okay, right. That's a mood. I want to feel desired. Okay, that's a feel. I want to be a little scared. Yes. Boo. Boo.
So for those of you that are new to kink, notice how Midori is. This is one of the things that's so brilliant about you, Midori. You take things like negotiation and you make it very simple. You're like, when I demoed for you before, you're like, okay, what 3 things do you want included? What kind of an experience do you want to have? How do you want to feel?
How do we want to feel?
Right.
The emphasis is actually on we.
Yes.
Because I believe in what I call engaged collaborative consent.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Can you share with us?
Consent is awesome. Yay. Enthusiastic consent has been the next step, but how can I be enthusiastic about something I haven't tried?
Could you be enthusiastic about trying it because it's new and might be exciting?
Maybe, or there might be, let's honor the fact that there may be trepidations and concerns, and that's like, oh my God, this seems so complicated. And then if enthusiastic consent for some people I've talked to seem like there's a requirement to have to like it during or after, but that's a bit of pressure. It's like, oh, I said yes, I must like it.
Right.
But we can also say yes and decide that, it's kind of like trying sushi for the first time. Here, try sushi. How can you be enthusiastic about sushi if you haven't tried it? But I can say, all right, fine. You're saying you like sushi. Fine. I'll try it. I'll be open to it. I might not like it. I might like it. So I like engaged collaborative consent because it means that, okay, I'm going to engage in this with you. And collaboration, so engaged means I also have agency in it.
Yes, and both parties get to keep choosing.
Yeah. And collaborative means that, all right, let's figure this out together. We may also be playing with dominance and submission, but it's still ultimately collaborative.
Can you explain how you would have engaged collaborative consent in a DS, in a dominance and submission dynamic? Because I prefer to sub versus bottom.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to get in trouble. Midori is like such an expert on like teasing all these boxes apart. So I'm going to try not to freak out in her presence. But it can be, or I've had the experience of it being challenging to, if a dom is like, so how is that for you? Is this what you want? It now starts shifting the dynamic. So can you share how you can
How does it shift the dynamic?
I'm thinking of a specific context
Sure.
where the person genuinely was more of a top than a dom. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not.
How are you distinguishing top versus dominant?
There wasn't a power exchange in it.
Okay.
We were still equals.
Okay.
So that's what I'm wanting to understand in terms of
Okay.
engaged consent.
So setting the expectation in the beginning as to what realm one maintains authority in. So let's say you and I are going to play a dominance and submission game involving rope. Okay? Dominance and submission is not about all taking, all surrendering. Dominance and submission is about right now, under these conditions, what part do I have authority?
Mm-hmm.
And it only expands to this scope. Like if we were playing in dominance and submission, I don't have the authority in that moment to say, you should pay your electricity bill.
Right, or give me all the money in your bank account.
Right, because that is not the realm of authority we agreed on. That would make me an asshole.
Yes, so negotiating
the realm of authority.
Right, and the scope.
Right, and the scope and the realm of authority. And if the scope and realm of the authority is, I am going to be in charge of designing a good time for us, and I am going to temporarily engage in taking control over the sensations you experience.